Greetings for the day. Welcome to another session of Computer Networks. My name is Mohammad Rahmat Ali. In today's session, we're going to learn about the digital signatures. But before going into today's topic, let me revise what are the things that we have studied in the previous session. We studied about the type of cryptography, we studied about symmetric and asymmetric keys, and what are the methods used in symmetric and asymmetric keys, and what are the mechanism of both of the things. In today's session, we are going to learn about the digital signature, what this digital signature is all about, and how this is used, and how is this helpful in implementing the task and the things. Now, coming with the things, the digital signature is a technique which is used to validate the authenticity and integrity of the message. We know that there are four aspects of security: privacy, authentication, integrity, and non-repudiation. Okay, now privacy in the sense confidentiality also you can say. Okay, CIA properties like I have told you in the previous thing. Now, if at all, if you want to send a message, you will write a message and you will write a signature below. Like in the olden days, when you used to write a leave letter, when you used to write any of the postal letter, at the below we used to give a signature, so that to tell that this particular person who is signing is an authentic person who has written this particular letter. Also, in the olden days, there used to be a stamp that used to be of that particular clan or that particular place or that particular person. The same thing is been applied in terms of digital world. We'll be having digital signatures to validate and authenticate that this particular user is an authentic user who is sending this particular message, and the message is coming from authentic resources, and the receiver who receives that particular message or email can understand that this particular email or this particular message or this particular information is being coming from an authentic person, by which this particular digital signature indicates that this particular information is absolutely correct. So this is with reference to the digital signature. Now, the steps followed in creating digital signatures are: the first one is message digest is computed by applying a hash function on the message, and then message digest is encrypted using private key of the sender to form a digital signature. Now, what digital signature is? Digital signature is encryption of private key of sender and message digest. And what message digest is? Message digest is message digest and algorithm of a message. So this is the first step in making a digital signature. The second point, it says digital signature is then transmitted with a message. Digital signature is then transmitted as message in the sense message plus digital signature is transmitted on the network. Now, at the receiver side, receiver decrypts the digital signature using the public key of the sender. It will decrypt it by using the public key of the sender. Now, this assures the authenticity as only sender has his private key. So, only sender can encrypt his private key, which can thus be decrypted by sender's public key. This is a bit confusing, I guess. Okay. Now, I'll tell you a small thing. Don't worry about all these things. It means, see, I'm having a pair of key, you are also having a pair of key. What I'll do is, like, what are the thing which is been common, I'll share that thing. What he will do, he will encrypt it with his private key, and I can decrypt it with my public key. This is the thing that what is been told over here. Now, the next thing is the receiver now has the message digest. Now, the next thing, the receiver can compute the message digest from the message. Actual message is sent with the digital signature. The last point says is the message digest computes or computed by receiver, and the message digest got by decryption on digital signature need to be same for ensuring the integrity. The message which is been sent and the message which is been received, if at all if these both are same, then only it is been considered as the integrity property. This is be considered with reference to authentication and integrity of the property. So this is the step followed in creating a digital signature. Now moving forward, signing the whole document. What do you mean by the signing of the whole document? In digital signature, a public key encryption technique is used to sign a document. However, the roles of a public key and private key are different here. The sender uses a private key to encrypt the message, while receiver uses the public key of the sender to decrypt the message. With the private key I am encrypting it, from the public key I am decrypting it. Okay. Now the second point says, in digital signature the private key is used for encryption while the public key is used for decryption. The same thing has been said over here. Now the last point is, digital signatures cannot be achieved by using secret key encryption. It cannot be achieved by using the secret key encryption. Now the next thing says, following are the steps taken to ensure the security. Now the first one, the miniature version or the digest of the message is created by using hash function. Now what do you mean by this hash function? Hash functions are those functions which converts a normal text into unreadable text, or some of the functions or some of the algorithms which are being used to create a hash value. Now what is the hash value? The hash value, in the sense, when you encrypt a particular message, you will be getting a code. That code will be unique. If at all some of the minor or minimum changes is made to that particular function, and if at all if it has been hashed again, then the hash code will be different. In the sense, see, I am telling you this particular video, I record this particular video, and after that I'll do hashing on this video, and I'll get a code. And you got that video, you made a small change. What is small change that you have made? You have discluded, or you have discluded the last 1 second, and again you took the hash function. So the function which is now been hashed will have a different code which I have got. Well, the only thing what I have done, I have removed only 1 second, but removing that 1 second will create another hash code. It will create another hash code. So hashing and hashing value should always be same, so that the functions and the values are same, so that no further alteration is been done in that particular message. Now further what it says, the digest is encrypted by using sender's private key. After the digest is encrypted, then the encrypted digest is attached to the original message and sent to the receiver. Now the next point it says, the receiver receives the original message and encrypted digest and separates the two. The receiver implements the hash function on the original message to create the second digest, and also decrypt the receiver digest by using public key of the sender. If both the digests are same, then all the aspect security are preserved. That's what the thing I was telling you. Before sending and after sending, if both of the hashing functions are same, then only security is being preserved and security is being assured with reference to the sending and receiving of the messages. Now further, what do you mean by this communication security? What is this communication security? Communication security is a prevention of unauthorized access to telecommunication traffic. Now what do you mean by this telecommunication traffic? All of the communication which is happening through telephone or internet or via using network of telephone, that is what we call as telecommunication traffic, or to any written information that is transmitted or transferred. There are several ComSec or communication security discipline, including cryptographic security, encrypt data and renders it unreadable until the data is decrypted. Now what are the types of communication security? There are 5 communication security types. The first one is crypto security. What do you mean by this crypto security? This encrypts data, rendering it unreadable until the data is decrypted. The second one is emission security. This prevents the release of capture of emission from equipment such as cryptographic equipments, thereby preventing unauthorized interception. The next one is the physical security. This ensures the safety of and prevents unauthorized access to cryptographic information, documents and equipment. See, With reference to security, there are different aspects of security. The first one is the physical security, the second one is the data security, and the third one is the hashing security. There are n number of security if at all if you classify based on your understanding and based of your things. Now what do you mean by the physical security? In the sense, you have a locker, you are keeping that locker safe with the help of two guards. This is physical security. What do you mean by this logical security? If at all someone is entering wrong pin to open that vault, for that you will be sending an alarm, you will be sending some of the things. Okay, this is what we call as logical security. And also with reference to the digital security, what it is there, you will be using biometrics, you will be using OTP, you will be using iris scan. There are different methods of making that particular thing as secure. So with reference to different conditions, different values, the different security measures are being taken. The next one is traffic flow security. What do you mean by this? This hides messages and message characteristics flowing on the network. Now what do you mean by this? Like see, it hides the traffic flow with reference to avoid the security measure. If at all there is a lot of traffic on one particular network, if at all some of the security person knows about it, so what they will do, or some of the hackers knows about this, what they will do, they will make more traffic on that network so that that network gets down. That network gets down, and another alternative can be introduced into the market. Now the next one is transmission security. This protects transmission from unauthorized access, thereby preventing interruption and harm. Now see, this, with reference to this, there are many type of attacks that can be done. Man in the middle attack, masquerading, or some of the things. Now I'll tell you a bit overview of all these things. See, I am the sender, you are the receiver. I am saying hello. You are receiving hello after 1 second or 2 seconds or 3 seconds. This is also an error. The moment I say hello, you should also receive hello. If at all if you see on IMO, by the moment you hear what he is speaking, there will be a delay of 1 or 2 seconds. That is also an error. In this meantime, I can encrypt and decrypt some of the message and I can retransmit it to another way. If at all if I am saying hi, you are receiving hello, it means there is someone in middle who is translating some of the messages. Also one of the another security what you call as drawback is the third person is seeing my messages what I am sending to the third person or the second person. The third person is watching the message sent to the second person. This is also not a proper way of security. Now the next one is, what do you mean by this authentication protocol? What is this authentication protocol? An authentication protocol is a communication protocol. It can be encrypted or designed to ensure the safe transfer of authenticated data between two or more different parties. Okay. Now what it does, the purpose with the increasing amount of trustworthy information being accessible over the network, the need to keep unauthorized person from accessing to this data emerged. Now what do you mean by this? This means like see, now you are writing your internals, you are submitting your assignments, you will be submitting your marks. Now when you have written the exam, you will be very much curious about knowing your marks, but I am not showing the marks. So what you will do, you will try different methods by which you will come to know what are the marks. So for that particular reason, as the data is increasing and that data is trustworthy, like that should be between the faculty, university and management. Students should not be involved in the marks. So this is very crucial data. This is very crucial data. So this need to be protected. This need to be protected. Now how is this protected and what are the mechanism that is being set in this particular module? What it says, stealing someone's identity is easy in computing world, or is easy in computing world. Special verification method had to be invented to find out whether the person or computer requesting data is really he says he is. Now for an example, if at all HOD tells you like I want to speak to your father, so what you will do, you will make some other third person to speak on behalf of your father, Now HOD wants to confirm that whether that person who is speaking is really your father or the third person who is speaking on behalf of him. So that is the purpose of authentication. That is the purpose of authentication. The second point is the task of authentication protocol is to specify the exact series of steps needed for execution of authentication. It has to comply with the main protocol principles. So what are the principles? A protocol has to involve two or more parties, and everyone involved in the protocol must know the protocol is advanced. The second point is all the included parties have to follow the protocol. All the included parties has to follow the protocol. The next one is a protocol has to be unambiguous. Each step must be defined precisely. Each step has to be defined very much precisely. And the next one is the protocol must be complete. The protocol must be complete. It means must include a specified action for every possible situation. If at all, if is there any of the possible situation, what are the reflect back things that need to be done with reference to that particular thing, that need to be there in that particular amount of time span, and also with reference to what we are doing particularly for that thing, there should be an what do you call as exception handling type of a things which can hold that particular answers. If at all there are incorrect answer, a proper communication should be done for that particular thing. Now the next is what are the types of authentication protocol, or the different types of authentication protocol. It says there are various types of authentication protocol that aims to answer different needs. What is the first one? Password authentication protocol, also known as the PAP. It is one of the most straightforward authentication protocol. The simplicity of this protocol system states from the fact that it transmits the data in plain text. As a result, PAP is not a very durable against attack. It is not durable against the attacks. The second one is EAP. EAP stands for Extensible Authentication Protocol. Extensible Authentication Protocol. What it does? EAP was originally developed for PPP. It means point-to-point protocol. Point-to-point protocol. But today is widely used in IEEE 802.3, IEEE 802.11 or IEEE 802.16 as a part of IEEE 802.1x authentication framework. The latest version is standardized in RFC 5247. The advantage of EAP is that it is only a general authentication framework for client server authentication. The specific way for authentication is defined in its main version called EAP methods. Now the last topic of this particular thing is the email security. What do you mean by this email security? Like also we have studied this particular topic in the previous session. Again we are going to revise this particular thing. Email security is a term for describing different procedures and techniques for protecting email accounts, content and communication against unauthorized access, or it means loss or compromise. Email is often used to spread malware, spam and phishing attacks. Now what this does? Attacker uses deceptive measure to entice recipient to part with sensitive information, open attachments or click on hyperlink that installs malware on the victim's devices, like with reference to the spam emails. The next point is email is also a common entry point for attackers looking to gain a foothold in an enterprise network and obtain valuable company data. So these are different frauds that is done with reference to email security. So what is the mechanism which has been involved in that? That mechanism is that you should have an antivirus, you should have an internet security to protect those things. Now with reference to every of the email server, they have their own antivirus software which doesn't allow any of the spam or malware to be uploaded or downloaded from that particular mail server. So they will warn you for that particular thing, that this file may harm your system, this file may harm your computer, this file may harm your memory devices. So it will give you an email security. And also, if you see the email addresses, first you need to check whether that information is coming or that email is coming from a proper secure way. If at all it is coming from a proper secure way, then only you should open that particular email. Then only you should open that particular email. Now, further what it says, how secure is email? How secure is email? Email was designed to be open. Email was designed to be as open as accessible and possible. Sorry, email was designed to be as open and accessible as possible. So it allows people in an organization to communicate with each other and with people in other organization. So the problem in that is it is not secure. The email is not that secure. So this allows attackers to use email as a way to cause problem for the profit. It means like emails are being used to attack some others privacy, in the sense, if you click on that particular link, they will take the access of your memory, they will take the access of your camera, they'll take the access of all of the devices or all of the connecting things connected to that particular system or to that particular machine. Now next it says, whether through spam campaigning or malware and phishing attacks, sophisticated targets or sophisticated people are being or sophisticated targets are or attacks are being done. Or with reference to the business email compromise, attackers try to take advantage of the lack of security with reference to the email and with reference to the email actions being taken. For instance, if you observe in the email, if you are not opening an email for a longer time and if you are directly deleting it, it will not, from the next time when it is coming to your email, it will not be stored in your inbox, but it will be stored in your spam box. It will be stored in your spam box. Also, if at all there is a bulk emailing services, that particular emails will be sent directly to the spam box. Why? Because the email server knows that which emails are coming from authentic sources and authentic resources, so that it can segregate from being a spam or sending it to the main email box. Now the last point is, since most of the organization rely on email to do business, attackers exploit email in an attempt to steal sensitive information. Okay. Now, what are the email security policies? Because email is so critical in today's business world, organizations have established policies around how to handle this information flow. So what is that? One of the first policy most organizations establish around viewing the content of email flowing through email server is, it's important to understand what it is in the entire email in order to act appropriately. Now see, there are some of the email servers which will accept email from that particular domain only. In the sense, if you are working in a company, one employee of a company can send email to another employee of a company, but the same employer of a company cannot send an email to another employer of a company. Why? Because that particular mail server doesn't allow them, so that their email server can be protected. Their email server can be protected with the external attackers. But there might be a chance that internal people can send some of the malware or Trojan horse to make the system slow and to acquire the properties and to acquire the information of that particular device. For an instance, I want to acquire the property of a manager to increase my salary or to reduce my what you call as loss of pays, or also to give more bonuses. I can do this particular thing with reference to emails and different things. So there can be internal attack in an organization, but with reference to limited type of an organization, the chances of getting attacked by the externals are very less. Now with reference to internal and external attacks are more dangerous than external attacks. Why? Because internal attacks are those attacks by our own company people which knows the pros and cons of the system. They can take an advantage of those pros and cons of the particular things. But whereas if an external attacker is attacking, they will follow a standard procedure of acquiring the details. So it is very much easier to handle external attacks, but in some cases it is very difficult. But when compared to external and internal attacks are more dangerous. Now, what are the email security best practices? See, one of the first and best practices that organizations should put into effect is implementing a secure email gateway. The second one is an email gateway scan and processes all incoming and outgoing mails and make sure that threats are not allowed in and out. The third point is because attackers are increasingly sophisticated, standard security measures such as blocking known bad files attachments are no longer effective. The last point is the best solution or the better solution to deploy a secure email gateway is that to use a multi-layered approach approach. Now the last topic of this particular chapter is with reference to this web security. What do you mean by this web security? Web security is also known as the cyber security. It is basically means protecting the website or web applications by detecting, preventing and responding to cyber threats. Now what are the different cyber threats? Cyber threats can be in different ways and different methods. It can be internal, it can be external, it can be with reference to worms, it can be with reference to Trojan horses, it can be with reference to phishing, it can be with reference to denial of services, it can be with reference to malware links. Okay, now websites and web applications are just as prone to security breaches as physical home stores and government locations. Unfortunately, a cybercrime happens every day and great web security measures are need to be protected or used to protect website and web application from becoming compromised. Like see, when I am recording this particular session, I might also be compromised in terms of security. Why? Because I am using a third party security, like third party camera. That company can record my particular information using that particular camera. Who knows? The mobile phone that you are carrying, the SIM card that you are placing it in your mobile phone, the memory card that you are using, and the chipset that is in your mobile phone and your laptops. We have not produced and we cannot say guarantee. We have blindly said I accept or I agree for that particular policies. What is written in that particular policy, we have not read about that policies. So they might use our personal information against us, or they might use this particular information in a particular other way. And also, if at all if you remember, if at all if you are speaking with a customer care, the first message which will be sent to you is this conversation will be recorded for quality and training purposes. Why? What is the need of that? Why someone wants to record my particular voice, my particular conversation for their own purpose? So this is all with reference to the cyber security. Like what is the need that when I am speaking to a customer care for my own problem, why that particular call should get recorded? What is the need? So for this, all of the different cyber security measures that need to be taken in improving the cyber security problems and to improve the quality of compromising, or to reduce the quality of compromise with reference to getting attacked from external or internal people. Now, what are the details with reference to cyber security or web security? There are a lot of factors that go into web security and web protection. Any website or any application that is secure is surely backed up by different types of checkpoints and techniques for keeping it safe. Like at different measures, different steps are taken to make it more secure and to make it more reliable to the users, so that when the user is using that particular service, they might feel or they should feel secure in using that particular information. For instance, if I say you that antivirus companies are those people who manufacture viruses so that their product can get into the market and their product can sell a lot. So will you buy that particular antivirus? No, will not buy that particular antivirus. And also, if you remember, in US, a person has claimed or put a case on iPhone stating that they are putting unwanted updates in their iPhone. They are putting unwanted updates on iPhone so that the users are forced to buy another iPhone which is coming in the market. So these are the different methods by which market is being evolved and market is being occupied with reference to cyber threats. Then the next point is there are a variety of security standards that must be followed at all times, and these standards are implemented and highlighted by the OWASP. So these are the details with reference to the web security. Now what are the different available technologies for this particular thing? So there are different types of technology available for maintaining the best security standards. Some of the popular technique solutions for testing, building and preventing threats includes black box testing, fuzzy tools, white box testing, web application firewalls, security and vulnerability scanners, and password cracking tools. These are the different ways by which the security can be measured. And also with reference to, if at all if you are filling a form, if at all if you are filling a form, if at all they ask you what is your date of birth in 2021, what is your date of birth, can you write 1987? Can you write 1800 in your date of birth? No. Why? Because it is highly impossible to have that particular date of birth. And also if at all if I write the date as 000000, is it a valid date? No, it is not a valid date. If at all if I write date of birth, now it is 2021, I write 2023, is it possible? No. So it means with reference to testing of the things and implementing of the things, it should be in limited format. It has some condition to be followed. It should be within the range. It should be within the range of 0 years to 100 years or 1 or 5 years. So there should be some of the things which should be maintained to maintain the security and different aspect of testing. Right? What are the different threats which are being involved, like SQL injection, password breaches, cross-site scripting, data breaches, remote file inclusion, and code injection. So what are the best strategies for this particular things? There are two best or the big defense strategies that a developer can use to protect their website or web application. So what is the first one? The first one is resource assignment. What it is? By assigning the necessary resources to costs that are dedicated to alerting the developer about new web security issues and threats, so that the developer can receive a constant and updated alert system that will help them detecting, eradicate any threats before the security officially is breached. For instance, there is a particular input that you are getting stating the date of birth being coming as 1900 or date of birth coming as 1800. So this will be continuously monitored. This will be continuously monitored by the developer, and the conditions and the things will be marked according to the errors that are coming and the different inputs that are coming. See, the input that I am giving is a valid input. With reference to the syntax that it is there, it is valid, but with the reference to the semantics, but with reference to the implementation, it is not possible. There cannot be a student or there cannot be a person, there cannot be a human being who is been born in 1800 and still been alive in 2021. It is highly impossible. It is highly impossible. So you need to keep all of these resources tracking, and you need to know what are the measures and what are the different safety precautions that can be taken. The next point is the web scanning. What do you mean by this web scanning? There are several web scanning solutions already in existence that are available for purchase or for download. Now these solutions, however, are only good for known vulnerabilities. What about the unknown vulnerabilities? Will be like, see, why we use antivirus? We use antivirus only for the known threats that can harm your computer. Whereas when you consider internet security, it is been updated, or the buckets have been updated day to day with reference to the different viruses, different worms and different trojans associated to the internet and coming on daily basis. Now seeking the unknown threats can be much more complicated. This method can protect against many breaches. However, it is proven to keep websites safe in a long run. Moving forward, it says the best strategies used for these two particular things are these two, with reference to resource management and with reference to the web scanning. Okay, so I hope you understood something from today's session with reference to the different mechanism of web security, email security, and with reference to the different types of key management and all the things. I hope you understand something. If you have any doubt, you can reach me out on my email address rahmat_ali2u@yahoo.com, or you can come down to the college for a personal doubt clarification session. That's all for now. and I hope you all understood from this session. Thank you for joining.